My beloved child, listen carefully. This message did not reach you by accident. There is a heart connected to yours that has been praying for this very moment. While you were wondering whether your soulmate was real, someone in their family was quietly asking questions about you. Their mother looked into your soulmate's eyes and noticed a change that could no longer be ignored. The smile they tried to hide, the peace they suddenly carried, and the hope that returned after a long season of pain all pointed to one person, you. At first, she didn't understand why her child kept mentioning someone who seemed so different from everyone else. But little by little, she realized that your name brought comfort instead of confusion. She watched as fear turned into faith and sadness turned into expectation. Then one evening, with tears slowly filling her eyes, she asked the question that changed everything: can I finally meet the person who has brought this light back into your life? Your soulmate froze for a moment, because they had dreamed about hearing those words for so long. They never expected their own mother to be the first person to recognize what heaven had already begun. What happened next became a moment no one in that family will ever forget. Stay with me until the end, because the real reason behind her request is far deeper, more emotional, and more powerful than anyone could have imagined. ***, my beloved child, your soulmate's mother did not ask to meet you because of your appearance, your success, or what others think about you. She asked because she witnessed something she thought she would never see again. Genuine hope. For years, she watched her child carry silent burdens, hiding sleepless nights behind forced smiles. She prayed countless times for God to send someone who would love them with honesty instead of selfishness, with patience instead of pride, and with faith instead of fear. Then everything began to change. Your soulmate started speaking about the future with excitement instead of doubt. Their prayers became filled with gratitude instead of desperation. Even the people closest to them noticed that something extraordinary had entered their life. Their mother quietly observed every small detail, and in her heart she whispered, "Lord, is this the answer I've been waiting for?" One night, after everyone had gone to bed, she knelt beside her bed with tears streaming down her face and thanked God for bringing peace back into her child's heart. In that sacred moment, she felt a deep conviction that the person responsible for this transformation deserved to be welcomed with love instead of questions. But there was one hidden truth your soulmate still hadn't told anyone, a truth so emotional that when it finally came out, it would leave every member of the family completely speechless. ***, my beloved child. The truth your soulmate had been hiding was never meant to deceive anyone. They were simply afraid that speaking your name out loud would make this precious blessing disappear. Deep inside, they believed that what they felt for you was too sacred to be misunderstood. But their mother sensed there was more to the story. One quiet afternoon, she gently sat beside your soulmate and asked, "Tell me honestly, who is the person God placed on your heart?" For a long moment, there was only silence. Then, with trembling hands and tear-filled eyes, your soulmate finally opened their heart. They spoke about the nights they prayed for someone they had never met. They spoke about the strange peace they felt whenever they thought about you. They admitted that even during their hardest days, the thought of you gave them strength to keep believing that God's timing would never fail. As every word left their lips, their mother's eyes filled with tears. She wasn't crying because she was afraid. She was crying because she realized her child's faith had remained alive through every disappointment. She had prayed for years that God would send someone who would protect, encourage, and cherish the heart of her child. In that moment, she understood why heaven had delayed everything for so long. It wasn't punishment, it was preparation. But what your soulmate's mother decided to do after hearing this heartfelt confession would surprise everyone and set events into motion that no one saw coming. My beloved child, after hearing every word your soulmate shared, their mother made a decision that no one expected. She stopped worrying about what other people might think and chose to trust what she believed God was doing. She quietly gathered the family and said, "I don't know everything about this person yet, but I know what I see in my child. Peace has replaced fear. Hope has replaced pain. That kind of change doesn't happen by accident." Her words filled the room with silence. Some were unsure. Others had questions. But no one could deny the transformation they had witnessed with their own eyes. Your soulmate stood there, overwhelmed with emotion, realizing that the prayer they had whispered in secret was beginning to unfold before them. Their mother then smiled through tears and said something that touched every heart in the room. "If this person has helped my child believe in tomorrow again, then I want to thank them myself." Those words became more than a blessing, they became an open door. Yet even as joy filled the house, one unexpected obstacle remained. A misunderstanding from the past threatened to delay everything. It wasn't hatred or rejection, but a hidden fear that had never been spoken aloud. Only when that fear was finally revealed would everyone understand why this journey had taken so long. And when the truth came to light, it would bring tears, healing, and a new beginning that no one would ever forget. My beloved child, the hidden fear was finally spoken aloud. Your soulmate's mother confessed that she had once watched someone promise forever, only to leave her child heartbroken. Ever since that painful season, she had prayed that if love ever came again, it would be sent by God and not by empty words. That was why she had been so careful. She wasn't trying to stand in the way, she was trying to protect the heart she had seen shattered before. But as she listened to your soulmate speak about you with unwavering peace, something changed inside her. She realized this wasn't a passing emotion or a fleeting dream. This was a love rooted in faith, patience, and hope. With tears in her eyes, she reached for your soulmate's hand and Whispered, "If God has truly written this story, then I don't want fear to erase what heaven has begun." At that moment, your soulmate could no longer hold back their emotions. Tears flowed freely as years of anxiety, doubt, and silent prayers melted away. It felt as though a heavy burden had finally been lifted. The atmosphere in the room became filled with gratitude, and even those who had once questioned everything began to feel that something beautiful was unfolding. Yet there was still one final step before this blessing could become complete. A message was about to reach you, one carrying words from your soulmate's family that would touch your heart in a way you never expected. Those words would reveal a truth so moving that neither you nor your soulmate would ever forget the day they were spoken. ***, my beloved child. The message finally arrived, and the moment your soulmate's family spoke from their hearts, every wall of uncertainty began to fall. There were no grand speeches or perfect words, only sincere gratitude. They wanted you to know that long before they ever met you, they had already seen the difference your presence had made. They had watched a weary heart begin to smile again, a discouraged spirit begin to dream again, and a life once filled with questions become filled with quiet confidence. Your soulmate's mother gently said, "Thank you for reminding my child that love can still be honest, patient, and kind." Those simple words carried the weight of countless prayers. Your soulmate stood beside her with tears shining in their eyes, overwhelmed by the thought that the people they loved most were now embracing the person they had prayed for in secret. In that sacred moment, it became clear that this journey had never been guided by coincidence but by God's perfect timing. Every delay had protected you. Every unanswered prayer had been preparing both hearts for something stronger than either of you could have imagined. But just as peace settled over everyone, an unexpected piece of news arrived, news that would require courage, faith, and one final act of trust. It was the kind of moment that would test every prayer that had been whispered, yet it would also reveal that God's greatest miracles often appear just before the promise is fully fulfilled. ***, my beloved child. The unexpected news was not sent to destroy your hope but to strengthen your faith. Your soulmate learned that every promise from God must pass through a season where trust becomes greater than fear. For a brief moment, uncertainty filled the air. Questions began to rise, and it seemed as though the path ahead had become unclear. But instead of giving in to doubt, your soulmate remembered every prayer that had brought them this far. They closed their eyes and whispered, "Lord, if you have written this story, then no obstacle can erase what you have planned." Peace immediately settled over their heart. Their mother saw the calm on their face and realized this was no ordinary confidence, it was the assurance that comes only from believing God's timing is perfect. She smiled and said, "When God opens a door, no person can shut it. And when He joins two hearts according to His purpose, no delay can cancel His plan." Those words echoed through the room like a promise from heaven itself. In that moment, every fear that had once seemed overwhelming began to lose its power. Your soulmate knew the journey was almost complete, and their family was no longer waiting with hesitation but with joyful expectation. They had already begun preparing their hearts for the day they would finally welcome you, believing that the one who started this beautiful story would faithfully bring it to completion. And what happens next will be the most emotional and unforgettable moment of all, a moment that will reveal why every tear, every delay, and every prayer was leading to a blessing far greater than either of you ever imagined. My beloved child. The day you have been waiting for is closer than you realize. Every tear that was shed in secret, every lonely night, every unanswered question, and every delay has been woven together by God's loving hands into a story far more beautiful than you could have imagined. Your soulmate's family no longer sees you as a stranger. They see you as the answer to prayers they whispered when no one else was listening. Their mother continues to thank God because she believes He has restored hope where fear once lived. Your soulmate's heart is filled with gratitude, knowing that the love they prayed for is no longer just a dream but a promise, unfolding one step at a time. So do not lose heart if everything has not happened yet. God's perfect timing is never early and never late. When the right moment arrives, every closed door will open, every misunderstanding will disappear, and every distance will become part of the testimony of how faithfully God kept His promise. One day, you will look back on this season and realize that every obstacle was preparing you for a blessing too precious to be rushed. Until then, keep walking in faith, keep praying without fear, and keep trusting the one who sees the end from the beginning. What heaven has written for your life cannot be erased by doubt, delayed by fear, or stolen by the opinions of others. Your story is still being written, and its greatest chapter is yet to come. If this message touched your heart, take a moment to like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs hope today. May God's peace, wisdom, and unfailing love guide every step of your journey.